Day 36, we are at the start of week 8. Back on the charts, how's our New Zealand dollar Swiss franc trade looking? Not too bad, about $24 up at the moment. Bit of a weird gap between Friday and today, because we can see the last 15 minutes on Friday had a real sell-off the New Zealand dollar. But then over the weekend, they changed their mind, and we did have quite a bit of a gap up as it reopened after the weekend. Nothing for us to do with the trade though, both indicators giving us the buy signal still, which means we can just have a look at those other charts, see if there are any signals for us. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar getting close. Obviously we're in the NZD at the moment, but if we were to take profit, this is just crossed over zero on the MACD histogram. Price is still below the moving average, which means it's got 2 days to get across there. Could work out nicely on the timing, or we could just miss the signal if it even comes. Pound New Zealand dollar, if you'd got in a sell trade here against the pound, you'd be looking all right about now. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar almost coming up on a signal as well. If another day of red comes, we're likely to see that MACD crossover. Already got the price below the moving average. Sadly, no more trade entries for us tonight. We'll just keep our New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc trade open and see if we can find some tomorrow. Day 37, and we are looking at pretty good. Our New Zealand dollar Swiss franc trade has taken profit. We got paid 44 cents from the swap for the trade, and so in total we made $179.91. Really good. Keep building it up. Very nice trade. That's 2 winning trades we've had here now on the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc. That one right there, and this one coming as well. Strong day for the New Zealand dollar. That does put our balance now above $5,700, and we've got no active trades at the moment. Let's go see if we can find any. And the New Zealand dollar has been strong across the board. So we are getting that signal we talked about yesterday on the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. It's come through. Price has gone all the way above the average, and we're only on the second candle. Remember, we would have until the end of tomorrow to get this signal, but it's come for us now. Let's see if there's any other signals out there. Otherwise, we'll get in on this one. Worth noting as well, if we had taken that Great British Pound New Zealand dollar trade, if we went a bit overboard on the risk, just because we couldn't help ourselves, we would have taken profit. I would say pretty far there. It's just been so strong for the NZD the last week or two. Well, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar is giving us a signal. And currently I can already say between this one and the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, we will choose to go for the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Usually we'd have a look at today on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar chart, see which one was stronger. But because this is the first bar to cross over on the histogram, we are going to treat it as a slightly more valid signal than on the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, where it's the second bar of the MACD histogram. That's our reasoning so far while we're looking at the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair. But let's see if there's anything else out there still. If we were going based on the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar chart, we've seen that the Australian dollar has had a better day. Big green candle actually, and a signal almost coming. That's the fourth bar of the MACD histogram. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just missed out on the signal by 1 histogram bar. But it doesn't make us feel great because it means that we would rather trade against the Canadian dollar if we were going on that basis. But as I've said, we've got to treat first histogram bar zero line crossovers as the priority. And so it does mean that for us, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair is the one. We'll sell off the market. Hopefully we don't get a return on price. If we see a green day here, could easily have to close this down back across the moving average. But let's pull up our ATR, and that is reading 49.7 pips. We are going to risk 2% of that mark, and so you can see that risk calculated on screen now. We'll sell off the Australian dollar, and we'll do our stop loss 497 points, and 1.5 times that, 746. There we go. So we do see our take profit level in a pretty nice region, nowhere near going below the support level. Price could come back down. Maybe we'll see it trigger. I'm not the most confident in it, but I've said that about plenty of trades, and it's turned out differently. Let's hope this is one of those. We'll be back tomorrow to find out how it's going. Day 38, and our trade hasn't moved too much, but it has gone in our favor. Around about $25 up at the moment. This is going to be expensive to hold though. We got $2.06 they charged us for last night. And we've got the 3-day swaps tonight. Yeesh, so that's going to be $6.18 we carry over tonight. Starting to get expensive very quickly. Best remedy for that is for price to gun it down towards our take profit, trigger it and get us out of the trade. Nothing for us to do though. Price is still south of the moving average and MACD is still below zero. See if there's any other trades out there. Strength to strength for the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. If you were in this trade from here with a trailing stop loss, It's about 6% in your favor, 470 pips. Really nice move, really big shoe. Our New Zealand dollar Swiss franc trade that we jumped out of, that would be going a little bit more profitable as well. See where that move tops off. I had the option of this CAD trade, and that would be a bit to our favor as well. 420 points, 42 pips. Great British Pound, Canadian dollar. MACD shifts itself above the zero line. We see the two lines cross. Price is below the average though, no signal for us. Euro New Zealand dollar would have been a nice trade to be in as well. You can see where we were. We took profit here about 206 pips in, but now all the way to around about 463. A lot of money to be made. It does feel without the trading stop loss, we can sometimes be leaving those profits on the table. Just something to consider. No new trades for us though. That is the headline as we near the end of the day. We'll allow our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade to crack on. Hopefully get some profit. How about that? We'll be back tomorrow. Day 39 into the final hour of the day. And the sell trade we have on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pair. Yeah, it does move a bit more in our favour. These are pretty small red days. We want to see more of this kind of size. But hey, better to be some red than some green. Nothing for us to do with it. Let's see if there's any other trades out there. We are now seeing a pullback on the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc. Makes this take profit up here look pretty good right now. Pound CAD has one more day tomorrow to get all the way above that moving average to give us a signal. We've had a 1-2 histogram bars, that one right there, negative 0.000053. So if it gets over there by the end of tomorrow, yeah, we'll be in. If it does. But there are no trades for us to enter tonight, so we will just carry on with our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. Day 40, we are at the end of the week, and what a save on our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. We can see how close that was on the 1-day chart. Let's take a look at it with the 15 minutes, and you can see that is pretty close. Only about 2 pips away from triggering the stop loss. Price makes a return though, comes back down. And if we do end up taking profit, we will feel very lucky to have avoided that. Back in place below the moving average as well, so we are down, but that's because we're paying through the nose for it with these swaps. Had it 3 days and costing us $10.29. Not ideal, but we keep it open, and we'll see if we've got any other trades out there. Canadian dollar Swiss franc makes the cross below zero on the MACD. Price above the average though, no signal. Pound Swiss franc been coming down sharply as well. Price is below the average. MACD is still above zero at the moment, but another day like that and it will cross, no doubt about it. No new trades for us tonight, and not a lot of interesting stuff going out on the charts either. So we'll just stick it out with the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. Hopefully this retracement up to the stop loss where it just fell short. Hopefully that is the retracement, and now it's done, wanting to continue a downward trend. We'll see in 72 hours time. Quick bit of an update on our journal though. Let's scroll down and see where we're at. $790, 44 cents up, around about 15% up at the moment. This week, that New Zealand dollar Swiss franc trade, that triggered for us all the way back on Tuesday. And since then, we've just been in the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. It's come good a little bit, whether it makes it all the way. Seemed very shaky with how close it got to our stop loss. We see how quickly it can turn and knock us out. That's how it's looking though from the perspective of the journal. 8 weeks in, pretty good.